Good afternoon. Thank you. How was your weekend? Hello. Hey, Robert. Hey, Jesus. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Eileen. Hope everybody's doing well. You went to Meow Wolf? Meow Wolf? What is that? Is it like a concert? Hey, Chris. Oh, I grew up in the mall in the 90s. That's cool. Some good shops. Nice. Did you buy anything? Good afternoon. A lot of candles. Nice. Nice. I love candles, especially like during holidays and stuff. Different scents and stuff. That's awesome. Go ahead and get Canvas open. We're going to review for the civics exam today that's due next week. So as people are coming in, hello, good afternoon. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Oh, candies. Sorry, I thought it said candles. Sorry, candies, yum. Sorry, I read it too fast. Candies, yum. What kind? Like, are you like a chocolate person or gummies or? Yes, it is. Civic exam is multiple choice. Hey, Shade. All types, nice. Nice. We'll get started here in just a second. We're gonna review for the civics exam. I'll kind of go over. It is an honor lock. Yeah, it is. Yep, we're required to do all of them through honor lock. It is. You can take it though multiple times, and I'll go over all the requirements today. And then there's some really good study tools. So I'll go through those with you guys today and show you. Sorry, my voice is kind of cracky. I think I'm losing my voice. I'm trying to drink water. All right, we'll get started. And maybe we can even finish early. Okay, I finished most of my periods about 10 minutes early today. So let's get started. Okay. All right. So welcome back. We had a nice long weekend and stuff. Did everything go okay on Thursday with the video work okay? Were you able to get through module 5, lesson 2, the course arc and notebook, or at least majority of it? So no response. This is where I need response. It wasn't there. Okay, well, if you need it, it's under the announcements. Anybody in here that was there? Did it work okay? On Thursday, the video with the sub? It was fine? Okay, you guys were able to get stuff done? I hope. All right. Hopefully you were able to get stuff done and stuff. So, and hopefully it was helpful. If you were gone on Thursday or if you do need assistance, it is in Canvas. If you go to announcements, and it is just like every Tuesday, Friday, but instead I did it Thursday because we didn't have school Friday. I do directions, for what's due. And so I put in directions that you need to attend class, what was going to be, we were going to work on. There's the link to the videos if you want to go back and use it. And then what you need to get done. And then there's the review sheet for the Module 5 Lesson 2 quiz. Okay. And that told you what was due and then what was closing that day. Okay. So that was posted. And if you need to go back and use any of that, it's there. All right. So today we are going to be working on the civics exam and reviewing and talking about, it's super important because it's required. You have to take it and pass it. So I'll talk about that and some really good study tools. Okay. So before we get started, really quick for our bell ringer, are you Starbucks or Dutch Brothers? Which is yours? They just opened a Dutch Brothers by me, and I've been team Starbucks because it was close, but I'm curious which you choose and why. None. That's actually a smart one. That's the smart one. You save money. All right. Dutch Bros. Why? I lean towards Starbucks because I feel like the coffee's stronger, but I know that a lot of people are telling me like Dutch Bros. I haven't been there much. They have a lot more options and they're cheaper, which cheaper could be nice because then maybe I could go twice a week instead of one. Anybody else have a preference or why you like Dutch Bros or Starbucks versus the other? What do you think? Starbucks? Okay. So why? What makes you choose Starbucks or Dutch Bros? What's the reasoning? Those are super chatty today. I do like the snacks. Starbucks doesn't have the options. Okay, yeah, a lot of people, it definitely has that coffee taste, a little bit burnt at Starbucks. Dutch Bros, definitely more flavor options. I definitely agree with you on that. They definitely have more flavor options and stuff like that. I think they're a little bit cheaper. I do love the Starbucks. Their breakfast sandwiches, so good. The bacon Gouda one and their egg bites and stuff, so good. So you probably say Dutch Bros. Okay. All right. I feel like I need to give them a try. I do love Starbucks, how I can like order ahead, and then just walk in, but maybe Dutch Bros, I'll have to give it a try. And so I heard their app's good, so I'll give it a try. We are going to talk about the civics exam. It is technically due next week. So technically Monday, Tuesday. It is a chill environment. It is chill. And they're always super friendly. I do say whenever I've been to Dutch Bros, everybody's always been really friendly. Good customer service, which matters. I feel like today, a lot of places like customer service is really bad. So it is really nice when someone is nice and get good customer service. That's super nice. Yeah, you only have to take it this semester. So you take it this semester. There's no civics exam next semester. Okay. And we're going to spend today kind of going over it. I'm going to go through the review tools with you and make sure we understand exactly what we need to do. And tomorrow, nothing is due. Tomorrow's technically a catch-up day. That's why I'm spending some time on this today. Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be talking about the Supreme Court project, which is massive. All right. It is your biggest assignment for sure, Q2, and worth the most points. So definitely coming to class Wednesday, Thursday, because we are going to go over that project step by step. Okay. And that's due on Friday. But I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of get a head start on the civics exam. It's technically due next week, which is Thanksgiving week. So I thought that if somebody wanted to work ahead or at least prep, then it would be a good thing to give you some time and you could spend a little time working on that tomorrow, or maybe even attempt to take it if you wanted to tomorrow. Okay. So here's the basics of the civics exam. It is required for graduation. That is not my standard. That is CCSD state standard. Okay. So no matter what school you would attend, you would be required as a senior in government class to take the civics exam. It is 50 questions, multiple choice. It is timed. Okay. It's 45 minutes. Again, I don't make this exam. This is put out, once a year by federal education. Okay. The minimum score to pass is a 30 out of 50. Now that's obviously not a great score. That's a D. Okay. But minimum is the minimum that you can get. All right. Now, obviously you want to get a better score than that. Except because it goes in the grade book, but that's the minimum score. Okay. In order to pass, to graduate. Okay. So you are able to retake it several times. Okay. So you can retake it. So if you get let's say a 35 out of 50, that's not a good score. You can retake it. All right. And it keeps your highest score. And there are a lot of review options. So required to graduate, 50 questions, 45 minutes timed. You can take it multiple times. 30 out of 50 is the minimum score. Okay. Obviously we'd like you to get higher than that. And there's lots of review options. So where to find it? Let's go over where to find it really quick. So if you go into Canvas and you go to modules, it is right there at the end of module 5, between module 5 and 6. Okay, so if we scroll down, takes a minute to load. So here's module 5, the judicial system. We talked about the Supreme Court, federalism, state versus federal power. Here's the big project we're going to work on Wednesday, Thursday, so lesson 3, the Supreme Court project. So we'll work on that on Wednesday, Thursday. So definitely make sure you come to class because that's going to be really helpful. It's worth a ton of points, 130 points. Okay. And then here is the civics exam. Okay. So there's a review page and then the actual exam. So the review page has instructions and all the review links. Okay. And then the next page has the actual exam. So it's important because, so I'm gonna do an announcement later today about the civic exam with all this information. I'll link this PowerPoint, and it also has all the links to the reviews, the same reviews that you can find here in Canvas. Okay. I highly suggest doing some review before you take it because it is a longer test. It's 50 questions, 45 minutes. You can obviously finish it faster than that, but it is 50 questions. And so just retaking, that's a lot of time. So putting a little effort into studying then could increase your chances of getting a better grade and give you more of an idea of what's going to be on it. So let's take a look at a couple of these review options, okay? So here's one. This is for kind of flashcards or questions. So they're open-ended questions and you answer them. Here it is, okay? And you answer them. And then, and if you get it right, great. If not, then it tells you what the correct answer is. Okay. So it's just verbal and it just kind of takes you through it. So for example, why does the flag have 13 stripes? Okay. Because of the 13 original colonies, to represent the original colonies. So what you do is you guess, and if you got it right, then you say, I got it right. If you got it wrong, then not. In what month do we vote for president? So let's put this in the chat. We're going to do some of this and use some reviews. So please participate today because this is review. Okay. So we're going to kind of go through these different sites, work on some of the questions, and it is a chance to review. All right. Why they added this exam. It's been required for years because it's considered, it's testing your knowledge of government, citizenship, and how our country works. So it's been required for years. So this isn't a new thing. It's been required for several years, many years and stuff. So because you're getting ready to vote, you're getting ready to be citizens of this country, right? I mean, not that you're not already citizens, but you're getting ready to participate in that as you turn 18. And so the goal is that you at least know some basics, okay, that you've learned in US history, that you're learning in government. A lot of these things we've been over. Okay, guess in what month? So November is the month that we vote for president. So November, we say we got it right, okay? There are 4 amendments in the Constitution about voting. Describe one of them. Can we describe any of the amendments from the Constitution about voting? There's the 15th, the 19th, the 27th, or 26th. Other voting amendments. Can we name anything that any of the amendments? Yes, so one of them that you got to be 18. Okay, come on, folks, let's participate. Okay, if we aren't going to participate, I will end session and we just won't get attendance. Let's go. Yes, must be 18 years old. What was the 19th Amendment in the 1920s? Who gained the right to vote? Make up 50% of the population. I am one of them. Yes, the 19th Amendment, that all people, despite gender and things like that, should be able to vote. The 15th Amendment was supposed to be everyone, despite background, race, ethnicity, and stuff at the end of slavery, promoting that and stuff. We have an amendment about being 18 and stuff. So all of these are a part of that. So must be 18. You don't have to pay a tax to vote. Anyone can vote, men or women, and male citizens of any race. Okay. Who's in charge of the executive branch? Who's in charge of there's 3 branches, right? Legislative, executive, judicial. So who's in charge of the executive branch? President. Very good. Yes, the president, right? Makes up. Very good, Kobe. Yes, Chris. Good. Okay. The president is the head of the executive branch. Awesome. All right. What did the Declaration of Independence do? Let me put it this way. Who did we break up with? Who are we declaring dependence from? Who are we saying we're no longer going to be part of your country? We're going to start our own country. Who did we break away from? Yes, free from Great Britain, King George. Very good. Very good. Yeah, so our declaration from Great Britain for independence and stating that we were going to be our own country. Okay, what is the capital of the US? So we obviously have state capitals, but what is the federal capital? Where the president resides, the legislative branch, and the Supreme Court. Anybody? Yes, Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. So Washington, District of Columbia, right? Very good. Yes. Yes. So this is a great review that just kind of takes you through. We elect presidents how many years? How many years in between elections? So we just did House of Representatives, which is every 2 years. President, good, is every 4. Okay. Oh, that should be say president, not president or president. Okay. What about the Senate? How often do we hold elections for the Senate? So House of Representatives every 2, presidents every 4, Senate 2, 4, 6. Very good. Every 6 years. And so the reason they did this with the legislative branch is the House specifically represents its district, right? The Senate is over the entire state. And the Senate tends to be a little bit more compromising, reasonable. The House tends to be more debated, a little hot and heavy and stuff because they have to fight for their position every 2 years. So you got to really make sure that you're making your constituents happy. What stops one branch from becoming too powerful? So what do we have in place where we try to create yes, very good, Eileen. Yes, checks and balances. Very, very good. Okay, checks and balances. So what stops one branch from becoming too powerful versus the other? I've said this a lot of times. We talk about the branches separate but equal. So the checks and balances and how they overlap, right? The House and the Senate pass bills. The president signs it into law or can veto. The Supreme Court oversees the Constitution and makes rulings that the House and the Senate have to follow. So each has their responsibility, okay? Or separation of power, okay? Anyone know who the first president was? Who's considered our founding father? Exactly. Like I said, a lot of this it's a way to just kind of review that we actually have done a lot of this already. We've talked about a lot of this through our curriculum. So either in US history or government, there's a lot of overlap. Okay. So President Washington, right? Yes. George Washington's considered kind of the founding father. Oh, my dog is having a dream, making that noise. Okay. What political party is president right now? So President Biden, what political party does he represent? We've been over this. Yes, Democrat. Okay, Trump was Republican, Obama was Democrat, George W. Bush was Republican. So for the last 30 years or so, we've seen this pendulum back and forth between the parties. So we'll see in the next presidential election if that continues or kind of how that goes. Okay, so you can keep going if you want. And you can take like another practice citizenship test and they'll keep going and they'll give you more and more and more questions. Okay. So, US citizen test, civics test, and it just helps you kind of answer those questions. And if you're not sure, it's a great way to review. When is the last day you can send in federal income tax? This is for taxes, April 15th. Who does the U.S. Senator represent? That's the state, right? All the people in their state. And you just kind of click through and it's a great way to review. All right, let's look at another option for review, okay? Quizlet flashcards. So Quizlet flashcards are a great way to do this. And they give you about 100 flashcards, okay? And you see if you know them. And if you know it, great. And if not, then it's, again, chance to review. So, for example, who is the commander-in-chief of the military? Anybody? Let's put this in the chat. Awesome. Everybody needs to be participating. You've got to take the civics exam. So this is a great opportunity to see what you know. And it's okay if you get it wrong. It's not a big deal. Nobody's going to make fun of you or anything like that. Okay. So it's good to, stick in there. Yes. So the president, right? This is one of the president's many role. Who signs bills into law? Who signs bills into law? So the legislative branch votes on them. So Congress is the one who passes them, but who actually signs it? And actually has the power to veto as well, right? Very good, Robert. Very good. Yes, the president, right? So the president has this power. Okay. Who vetoes bills? That's the president. Okay. What does the president's cabinet do? What's the purpose of the cabinet? Do you remember those 15 positions? Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of Labor, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of all those different branches. What is the purpose of the cabinet? To work on specific issues. Yeah, they represent the bureaucracy, right? So the bureaucracy, and they basically help the president fulfill their duties, because the president can't do it all on their own. Okay. So advise the president, help fulfill the president's duties, carry out what they need. Okay. What are two cabinet level positions? So like Secretary of Defense, Homeland Security, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Labor. There's a whole lot of different ones. What does the judicial branch do? So why do we have the judicial branch? This has been something we've been talking about more recently. What's the job of the judicial branch? So legislative, which is the House and the Senate, passes bills, power of the purse. President oversees all these bureaucracies and, executes and signs bills into law. Good. To create laws, to make sure we are following them. Yeah. So really to uphold the Constitution, right? So to make sure that the other branches are following and the courts are following what the Constitution has laid out, or to help set precedents in interpretation. Okay. So they really are about creating that consistency and making sure that law is over people, not people over law, right? That no one person or entity becomes too powerful. So to review laws. What is the highest court in the United States? What's the name of the highest court? And there's 9 members in this court. Come on, folks. I've got like 2 or 3 people participating. Everybody should be doing this. Good. Supreme Court. All right. Everybody write Supreme Court in the chat and post it for me. Come on. Let me know you're here. Everybody jot it down. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Marissa. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Lena. All right, great. So Supreme Court. Yes, thank you, Sade. All right. So what is the highest? That is the Supreme Court, right? And they have 9 justices. And remember, they serve for life. So how many justices? That's 9. Term is for life. Who is the Chief Justice of the United States right now? That's John Roberts. Okay. Under the Constitution, some powers belong to the federal government. What is one of those powers? So to declare war. It could be, there are 9 members of the Supreme Court. Yes, Kobe. Yes, there are 9 members. 9. So it used to be 6, but for the last over 100 years. Yes, very good. Money, that's a good one. And stuff that money and declaring war, diplomacy, and stuff. So they do a lot of those. Very good. Okay. Under the Constitution, some powers belong to the state. What's one power that belongs to the state? Can you think of anything? We just did it last Tuesday. What's something that is a power that the states have? Education. That's a really good one. The other one I'm thinking of, every 2, 4, 6 years, some of us did this last Tuesday. We went and voted. What is that in? The states oversee what? What process is that? Starts with an E. Education, but the other E. Where you go vote and you elect people. What is that called? Elections. Yes. Thank you, Eileen. Yes. Elections. Okay. So that's one of the powers of the state is elections, providing schooling, education, elections. They oversee that. What is the capital of your state? What's the capital of our state? What's the capital of Nevada? It's near Reno, but it's not Reno. Yes. Carson City. Carson City. Very good. Yep. Carson City. So small. It's about 30 minutes away. Yep. Carson City. Very good, Chris. Okay. This was obviously made for a different state. Okay. What are 2 major political parties? So what are the 2 major political parties? Remember, we're a 2-party system. A lot of democratic societies have multiple, but we only have 2 major parties. We do have some third parties, but what are the 2 dominant parties? Yes, Democrat and Republican, right? Democrat and Republican. And we do have other third parties, but they don't tend to win major elections. Maybe like a seat in the House or the Senate, but it's certainly not the presidency. Okay, it's designed to be a 2-party system. What political party is president now? We went over that. Democratic Party. Okay. So this is, again, another great tool review. You can go through, see how you're doing on those. Okay. Here's another one. U.S. Citizen Flash. Very similar to the Quizlet. So it kind of loads down here. You got to give it a minute. Click here to access. Okay. So what is the supreme law of the land? So what is the name of that document? That is the supreme law. So it's law above all laws. Starts with a C. Anybody? We had to write it twice because the first one, it gave too much power to the state. So we had to rewrite it so that the federal government was over. Good. Constitution. Constitution. Okay. So the Constitution, right? What does the Constitution do? It protects the basic rights of Americans. So it makes sure that, again, the law is over people, not people over the law. If we ever hand over our rights to people, I'm telling you, they'll never give it back. So the Constitution protects our rights from people who are trying to take that. We see it in China. We see it in Russia. We see it in Iran. We see it in Cuba right now. All these different countries where the people have handed their rights over to the government, aka people. And what happens is that you don't get it back. So when you try to protest, when you try to get back your rights, they suppress you. It's been going on in Iran. They're arresting thousands of people for protesting. In China, they censor your internet like crazy. They cut off Instagram in Russia. They literally shut down news agencies because they were reporting things other than what the government wanted about the Ukrainian war. I mean, it happens all the time. In Cuba, you can't get internet. You literally can't get internet. You have to buy flash drives with saved internet access on it and stuff because the government censors and shuts things down so much. So this happens a lot. So the Constitution, as much as it can frustrate us sometimes when change is slow, what you always want to remember though is when someone comes in and makes you promises, just give me your power, I'll take care of you. Run. Okay, this is what happened in Germany, and it's what started World War II. Hitler came in and said, I'll do whatever you want. I'm going to make us great again. Give me the power, and they did. And he took them through one of the worst world experiences ever. People are corrupted, and you have to be really careful. Both sides, Democrats and Republicans. There, I said it. All right? Don't give away your power. Don't give away your power. The idea of self-government in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are the first 3 words in the Constitution that tell you what these laws are supposed to be about? What are those first 3 words? That the Constitution is supposed to be about. It's not about our leaders. It's not about the president. Who's it about? We the people. Very good, Robert. Yes, we the people. Okay, we the people. And that's what it's supposed to protect. We the people. What is an amendment? So when we amend the Constitution, self-evident that all men are created equal. And we need to change that to all people are created equal, right? Stuff so that includes everybody. But yes, we the people, right? That all are created equal and should be treated the same under the law, right? What is an amendment? So we've done this 27 times to the Constitution. When we amend the Constitution, what are we doing? So the Bill of Rights was the first 10 amendments, and then we've done it 17 other times. So what is an amendment, generally speaking? Generally speaking. You had to describe it. When you pass an amendment, what are you doing to the Constitution? You're what? Are you keeping it the same or are you changing it? What does an amendment do? Does an amendment keep the Constitution the same or does an amendment change? It's a law that we follow, good, but what makes it an amendment is that it's a change to the Constitution. So the Constitution's been changed 27 times. So the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. So remember some of the Bill of Rights: freedom of speech, religion, right to bear arms, no housing, quartering of soldiers, right to a fair and speedy trial, trial by your peers. It protects you from you can't unlawful search and seizure, all those different things, right? And so those are changes or things that are added to the Constitution to, again, protect and enrich we the people, us the people, okay? What do we call the first 10 amendments of the Constitution? What is that called? So the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, what do we call those? They were packaged together, and the Federalists added them to the Constitution to make the Anti-Federalists happy because they were afraid of the federal government having too much power. That's okay. So we're on, what are the first 10 amendments of the Constitution called? Bill. Come on, folks. Everybody should be participating in this. You're taking the civics exam. Bill of Rights. Yes, Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights. So the first 10 amendments to the Constitution is the Bill of Rights. The first one talks about freedom of speech, religion, press, to assemble. And the Bill of Rights is really important because it outlines some of those very foundational things that protect us, the people, we the people, from the government becoming too powerful. Because the government definitely has control over us, but we want to make sure that that's limited. All right, that when necessary, we can stand up for ourselves and not be suppressed when we want to say something. When we don't agree with our government, we don't want to be suppressed and our voices be arrested, be thrown in jail, cut off our internet, which is exactly what happens in other countries. Something I do want to clarify, and it's really good to know: freedom of religion. So this was a really big deal because it wasn't just the ability to practice whatever religion you wanted, as long as you don't hurt others. It was also the freedom from religion, that if you didn't want to practice a religion, you weren't forced. A lot of countries, especially in the 1800s, had an official religion and you had to identify or practice that religion. So freedom of or from religion was a big deal and very progressive for the time. The ability to pick what religion you wanted, freedom of religion or from religion. If you don't want to be religious, you don't have to. So that was a really big deal, which was historic, okay? One of the rights in the Bill of Rights, or the First Amendment, is freedom of speech, press, again, religion. How many amendments are there? Do you remember? I mentioned it a few times. How many amendments are there to the Constitution? So Bill of Rights is the first 10, but how many total? How many amendments are there to the Constitution? There haven't been a lot because it's really hard to do. You got to have 2/3 of the state. Close. Add a little bit more. 21, 25. Add 2 more. 27. Yes, 27. 27 different amendments to the Constitution. So not as many as you would think. It is hard to change the Constitution. But again, they've made it that way because they don't want, again, any one person or party to run rampant with our rights or drastically change our rights. So it is frustrating when we want to actually make a change. It is slow. What did the Declaration of Independence do? Who did it give us independence from? So some of these will kind of overlap with others. Remember, that was Great Britain or the British. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Anybody? Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? This one's on there. The Founding Fathers. Can we name the main one? Thomas Jefferson. Yes, Thomas Jefferson is considered the main author of the Declaration of Independence. So there definitely were many authors or people who contributed, right, to the Declaration of Independence. Okay. To rights, life, and liberty. Remember Thomas Jefferson kind of stole from John Locke and took that life, liberty, pursuit of property and changed it to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, because we didn't want to have to give every single person property. There's enough property to go around, but you have the freedom to pursue what was going to make you happy. You have the freedom to pursue and try new things. What is freedom of religion? That you can practice or not practice religion. What economic system do we have in the U.S.? We'll do this one and then I'll move on to another review. What economic system? So we've talked about communism. We talked about socialism. We're the other C, not communist. It's a free market. What is that called? Starts with a C. What type of economic system do we practice? You probably talked about this in world history during the Industrial Revolution, or capitalism. Very, very good. So capitalism is really important to understand. So capitalism is free market, okay, where the government is not involved, and it's kind of survival of the fittest in the entrepreneurial world. Okay. So if you like the idea of entrepreneurship or being able to be an entrepreneur, start your own business, make your own wealth, then you should be a supporter of capitalism, because that's exactly what it does. Now, we don't practice what's called free capitalism. Free capitalism was no rules. So that was like Industrial Revolution or when we got into the Great Depression. And without any rules, it ran rampant. All right. It did a lot of devastation and a lot of damage to people. The rich got richer at the expense of the poor. What we want and what we practice in the United States is called limited capitalism, where you have freedom, but it's like within a fence. So if you're like a cow, a free range cow, there's no fences. That would have been the Industrial Revolution or kind of leading up to the Great Depression. There was a lack of rules, which led to our economic decline. Now we have what's called limited capitalism. So like there's a minimum wage. There's a law for what age you can actually start working. There's laws for, remember we did bureaucracy of a taco truck and all the different, you could be an entrepreneur and open a taco truck, but you have to follow federal regulation of how to do that and how to keep it sanitary and safe, right? So I have the freedom to start my own business, but I have to follow certain rules to ensure that I am being safe to the public and to those I employ. Okay. So capitalism is something that makes us unique, and that not all countries have. Okay. Rule of law is that everyone must follow. Okay. Can we name one branch of the government? Name one branch of the government for me. There's 3. Can we fill up the chat with the 3? What are the 3 major branches of government? We've been going over these. What are the 3? Even name one. One has the House and the Senate. One has the president. And one has the Supreme Court. Great. Judicial, executive, and legislative. Okay. So the legislative is the House and the Senate. Executive is the president, and the judicial is the Supreme Court. All right, so another example is they have actual practice civics exam quizzes. So you can click on this one, and it'll load, and it takes old questions from old civics exams. So it's another way to kind of test yourself. So let's try this, okay? Name one state that borders Canada. Rhode Island, South Dakota, Maine, or Oregon. Is it A, B, C, or D? Come on, people, vote. Let's go. Fill up the chat. Let's go. You're taking a civics exam, so let's review. Okay, we think Rhode Island. I think we need to get out of our maps. What do you think? Rhode Island? Oh, it's Maine. Rhode Island is next to New York. So Rhode Island's next to New York. So Maine is going to be one of the states. So it gives you, there are 13 states that border Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Alaska. Okay, so what's cool about this one is that you answer and then it gives you the correct answer. Okay, name one U.S. territory. So not a state, but a territory. Cayman Islands, Haiti, Bermuda, or Guam. All right, we got a D. I can't even name all those states. I know, right? I know. All right, let's get some more votes. Come on, which one's a U.S. territory? I'll give you a hint. It's in the Pacific. So we're saying D? Yes, very good. Okay, we have 5 territories: Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, the Northern Mariana Islands, and Guam, all right, that are still considered territories. Okay, when is the last day you can send in your federal income tax? This is when you got to file your taxes. So this is something we're going to talk more about in the spring. When do you have to file your taxes by? Anybody? D? April 15th? Yes, tax day, okay? And it tells you, so this is the last day to send in your taxes without getting to the IRS, your annual taxes for the previous year, without getting docked, okay? So you can go through, you can answer the question, what does the Constitution do? Define the government, protect basic rights of Americans, set up the government, or all of these. What do you think? Vote. What does the Constitution do? Does it define government, protect the basic rights of Americans, set up the government, or all of these? Okay, I got 1D. Let's hear some other votes. What do we think? Come on, folks, participate. Okay, we got another D. Let's get one more vote. No, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. This is a chance to review. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with, so it does all those things. It helps outline the responsibilities of the government, gives clearly the basic rights of Americans, and to hold those who are going to be involved with it accountable. Okay. Why did the colonists fight the British? Because they didn't have self-government. All of these because of higher taxes, or because they were having armies stay in their houses. It was all of those, right? No taxation without representation. They were being forced to house and quarter soldiers, and they weren't being treated as actual citizens. Okay. So the cool thing about this one is that it gives you like the explanation. So that's really nice, and stuff. So we could do 1 or 2 more and then we'll be done. Okay. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? All right. Everybody should get this. Everybody put it in there. We just did this one. Which one? A, B, C, or D? James Madison, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, or Thomas Jefferson? Life, liberty, pursuit of property. It's D, right? Thomas Jefferson. So the cool thing about doing these is you'll see some overlap and stuff. And it talks about life, liberty, right? Pursuit of happiness. And he stole that from John Locke. Life, liberty, pursuit of property. Okay. Who is the commander-in-chief of the military? That's the president. We elect presidents however many years, every 4 years. And again, it just gives you, more and more of those. Okay. Who does the U.S. Senate represent? And that's all the people of their state. What stops one branch from becoming too powerful? Checks and balances, right? And a lot of this stuff we've talked about. So you know more than you think you do. You really do. How many amendments to the Constitution? 27. Right? So you know this and you can do this. All right. When must all men register in these selective services? Ooh, this is a good question. Men do not have to register at the age of 16, between 18 and 26, or at any age. This is one we haven't covered. Okay, see? Let's see. Very good. Yes, so you must register between the age of 16 and by the age of 26. Okay. And register, it's just telling them that you are available for the military. So if they were to have a draft, like during the World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War, they had drafts. So it's not people that were already in the military, they had to actually draft people. So my dad, maybe some of you have relatives that were in the Korean War, the Vietnam War. My dad, or my father-in-law was in the Vietnam War. My dad, he had to either go to war or go to college. So he went to college. So, and stuff. So yeah, a lot of guys were drafted in the 60s and 70s for the wars. Okay. But also World War II. So maybe your grandparents, great grandparents. So it was my grandparents. So maybe your great grandparents that were in World War II. Oh, he did. Believe me. Yeah. He was like, I think I'm going to go to school. He's like, what do you want to do? And stuff, you know, so, cause it was hard, and people who did serve, my father-in-law, his stories are just crazy. His stories are absolutely crazy, and stuff. So from the war. Okay. So these are some awesome review tools, that you can use. Okay. So, and all those are linked here. This is a flashcards. So it's the same kind of flashcards you see kind of here, but they're paper form. So if you're kind of a paper person, you can print them off and you can cut them out, if that's something that you would want to do. Okay. So there's lots of review tools, and I would encourage you to, again, to do some of these before you actually go take it. So here's the link to take it. It's 50 points, 50 questions. Okay. 45 minutes. You can have multiple attempts, and it keeps your highest score. Okay, so you're not penalized for taking it more than once. Okay, but you obviously want to take it when you can sit down and do it. So not when you're going to be distracted or something like that. Okay, but this gives you some flexibility. Great uncle was in the Vietnam War. You know, I encourage you, talk to these people, get their stories, because you take for granted that they're around, and then when they're not, that firsthand account goes away. And so I'm so glad, like, I got to talk to my grandfather about when he served and what that was like. And so I encourage you, if you haven't, talk to those relatives that have served and what that was like. And it just gives you an appreciation of, you know, the freedom we have, and also the sacrifice that people do. You know, it really does. Not that you don't already, but I will say it gives a deeper appreciation. Every time Veterans Day comes around, I get teary, because I think of the stories of my grandfather and of my father-in-law, and my father-in-law still has PTSD. He still wakes up with nightmares. I'm sure some of your relatives, it doesn't go away. And he was in the war 50 years ago, and it doesn't go away. And so it's a lifelong, you know, thing that they grapple with. Okay, so the exam is there. Okay, so again, 50 questions, 45 minutes. You can retake it multiple times. Minimum score is 30 out of 50. Okay, but obviously I encourage you to take it and get a higher score than that. All right, I don't think you want to get a 30 out of 50. You want to get higher than that. On Wednesday, we're going to work on the Supreme Court project, Wednesday, Thursday. It is, my cousin has a book about, wow, yeah, PTSD was, and our acknowledgement and awareness of PTSD really heightened after the Vietnam War. It's always been there, except, but I just don't think we had the right terms for it, or we weren't diagnosing people correctly, or identifying right what they were going through and what that looks like. So we've gotten better at that, maybe not helping them, but at least being aware of the PTSD, and needing to work on the services to give that support, right? And stuff. So, because it's a lifelong thing. Supreme Court project, it's worth a ton of points. So we're going to work on that Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to go over the instructions and rubrics, and we're going to go over it step by step by step. So definitely don't skip class Wednesday, Thursday, because that's worth a lot of points. Okay. All right, let's review, and I'll let you out here early. Okay. Is the civics exam required, and what's the minimum score? Everybody fill up the chat. Is it required? Yes or no? And what's the minimum score? Answer those two things for me in the chat. Yes. And a 30 out of 50. Come on, everybody. Everybody. Let's go. Yes. Okay. A few more. Fill up the chat. Who else am I missing? Alina, Chris, who else? Thank you, Sade. Kobe, where you at? Alina, where you at? Chris, let's hear it. Is it required? And what's the minimum score? Come on. Yes, Marissa, go ahead. Did you have a question, or just accidentally push it? You're good? Oh, left. Okay. All right. And so tomorrow, small group is 4 through 6. So if you need help, come see me in the afternoon. I'm available during our class time, office hours in the morning. It's a catch-up day and stuff. So if you have not gotten the emoji discussion in, get that in. And module 5, lesson 2, if you are behind on that or didn't do that last Thursday, go ahead and get that done. Great opportunity to review, though, for the civics exam and get that done or start working on that. Okay, though it's technically due next week. So we'll have time next week, Monday and Tuesday. Monday in class, we'll work on it. Tuesday, take your exam. But if you want to review or if you want to go ahead and get it done, give it a try, see how you do. It'll be open for several weeks. So you can always try it, see how you do, and then go review or something like that. Okay. I do want to remind you, though, the emoji discussion is closing tomorrow. Okay. So the emoji discussion does close tomorrow. So make sure you get that done and get that in. Okay. If you have any questions, you can stay behind. Otherwise, have a great day. All right, we'll finish up early. And Wednesday, Thursday, we will work on the Supreme Court project. Okay, so make sure to come and we'll work on the Supreme Court project. Have a great day. Thank you.